Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, to celebrate us getting 1,000 subscribers on this channel, I'm going to be answering some of your questions, and whilst I'm doing this, I'll be painting a watercolour piece of an animal as suggested by one of you. Thank you for all your questions and suggestions, I really do appreciate it. Unfortunately though, I can only paint one animal today, so if I haven't painted the animal you suggested, then I'll do my best to paint it in a future video. Now, before we get into the Q&A, I just want to say a huge heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you who have supported me and this channel over the past year. I am honestly so grateful, and it's been really amazing to have you guys along to share my art journey so far. So thank you again, and long may it continue. Now, if you haven't guessed already, today I'm painting a penguin as suggested by Ellen Hepworth. So thanks for the suggestion, Ellen. I hope you enjoy the video. All the supplies I'm using today, by the way, will be listed in the description box if you want to go and check them out, and feel free to ask any questions in the comments section to this video as well. Right, with all that said, let's jump in with the first of these questions, and the first question comes from Nikki, and she asked, is the owl painting that I've done recently going to be available in my Etsy shop? Well, Nikki, yes it is. It should be available from today, so hop on over to the Art Hive by Sarah and you can pick yourself up a barn owl print. For anyone that hasn't seen my Etsy shop, I will put a link and information in the description box, and if you haven't seen the video that accompanies the owl painting, I'll also put a link to that in the end card to this video. The next question comes from Joey, and he asked, do you paint in a sketchbook ever, or do you just do finished pieces? Well, I tried to include a little bit of video footage at the beginning of this video to show you just how I use my sketchbook. I mainly use it for swatching out colours and choosing a colour palette, as well as trying out different techniques and textures and that sort of thing before going into the finished piece. But I did get a Hanamoule watercolour sketchbook in my latest art haul video, with the idea that I'd do some studies and some testing out on different products maybe for a video on this channel. So let me know if that's something that you'd like to see, and if you've got any ideas for what you'd like me to put in that sketchbook, then do jot them in the comments box below. Right, the next question was, how did I learn to paint? Am I self-taught or did I go to art school? Well, the only art training I suppose I had was at GCSE level, so I did GCSE art, and then I went off to do science, A-levels and all that kind of stuff, thinking that I would keep art as a hobby and take it up again later. I did do an art evening class, I think, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, but I haven't really got any qualifications as such. So mostly self-taught, but I've always had a real love and a passion for drawing and painting, so it kind of is something that I'm indulging now and really enjoying. And that leads into another question from DJ, who asked, did you start drawing animals or people first? And I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was probably animals. I remember doing a lot of cats, and I also remember doing owls and things like that for my art GCSE. I did do portraits of family members, but I think that might have been later. So if I had to say one or the other, I think it would probably have been animals. That said though, I don't really have a favourite animal that I enjoy painting more than others, but I do love painting eyes, as you may have gathered, so the bigger and the shinier the better. I do also like painting all different types of textures and that kind of thing, so anything really. I like all animals and I don't really have a favourite. So speaking of favourites, the next question is, what are my favourite art supplies? So that's brushes, paints and paper specifically. So to start with brushes, at the moment I've really been enjoying using the Escoda brushes, as well as my newly acquired Princeton brush set that I got in a recent art haul video, and that's the ones that I've used mainly for this penguin painting today. I really like the way they keep a really nice fine point, so you can use them for detailed work as well as larger areas as well. I haven't really got a great lot of experience with a lot of different brands, but they're the ones that I'm enjoying at the moment. So far as paints are concerned, it's really hard to pick one favourite. I like lots of different paints for lots of different reasons, but at the moment I'm really enjoying the Schmincke paints that I've got in half pans in a metal tin. They re-wet really easily, they're really vibrant, and I really like the way they lay down on paper. But I also like watercolour inks and liquid watercolours as well, and I also like paints that come in tubes. I just like everything really, and it's really hard to pick one that is just my favourite. I think it depends on what you like to paint as well, since some pigments may be better in one brand compared with another. I'm still experimenting a lot with different brands of watercolour and really enjoying learning about the different properties, so watch this space. Onto paper, and my favourite paper is going to be a cross between the Fabriano Artistico and the Arches that I'm using today. The Arches is a cotton paper, and I use the cold press paper mostly for my watercolour pieces. It's really good quality, it's got a really nice texture to it, and it stands up to being wet, dry, re-wetted and reworked. It's pretty tough stuff, and I really like the sort of the textures that you can get on it and all that kind of thing. The Fabriano Artistico that I've tried recently in a couple of my videos on this channel is a hot press paper, though it does have a little bit of texture to it, more so than I was expecting actually. And I've tried that out with both watercolour, colour pencil and graphite as well, and I do really like it. It's a really versatile paper. I think if I was going to do a watercolour painting that I wanted to perhaps add more detail with coloured pencil on top, I would definitely pick the Fabriano, but so far as doing a full painting just in watercolour, I would probably pick the Arches, so it's a toss up between the two. Okay, so the next question is, what is your favourite medium to work in? And that's another tricky one because I don't like to limit myself to just one thing, and I think that's probably why I don't ever get art block. That was something someone else asked me, do I ever get art block? Well, I really don't, because I like to work with so many different mediums that there's always an option. If I don't feel like painting, or if I've had a particularly bad painting day, then I might switch it up and use coloured pencils. And the same goes for those. If I wanted to do something that was a bit quicker, then I might try paint or charcoal or graphite or something like that. So I don't like to limit myself to one thing. I know on YouTube there are a lot of people who will have like their one main medium that they work on, and I've often worried that perhaps being someone who likes to try lots of different things is going to be working against me, because one week I might do paint, one week I might do pencil, and so on. But I think being a little bit more flexible and having all those different options helps me to never run out of ideas, never run out of inspiration. And I mean, I think at the moment, if I had to pick one, I probably would say watercolour is my favourite, because I'm really enjoying that. It's quite a quick thing to do, and it allows you to put your take on it as well. It's spontaneous, and I really love it. I love watching the paint move about on the paper, and I like the way that you can just put your kind of style on it. So yeah, probably watercolour at the moment. Okay, so next question is, do I have any tips to loosen up your paintings and avoid getting stuck in the details? And that's something that I've been working on personally as well, because I am a bit of a stickler for details, and I do try consciously not to get too bogged down with these. I think if anything, my tip would be to take a step back. Don't work too closely, and look at what textures and what effects you're trying to achieve overall. So like with this penguin, for example, I didn't put in every meticulous little detail on the penguin's back and all those kind of feathers. I just kind of gave the impression of some of them to try and make it look a bit looser but still give the feel of the direction. Is it feathers or fur with penguins? I'm not sure, but to kind of give the impression of the movement and that kind of thing without having to put in each and every detail. So looking at the piece as a whole and taking a step back rather than working too closely to it might help. But as I say, that's something that I'm still working on myself. Right, let's try and get a couple more questions in, and the next one is, do you freehand or do you trace? Well, it depends really, I think, on what you're trying to achieve. I don't think personally there's anything wrong with tracing if you're doing something that's got to be super 100% accurate, like a portrait or something. But if you want to try and improve your own drawing skills, then I think it's important to try and practice at least doing freehand. For the most part, I use the grid method for transferring my paintings, and especially if I want to enlarge something, if I've only got a small picture. But I think it just whatever is easiest for you and depends on what you're trying to achieve. So I think we've got time for one last quick question, and that was, what does your workspace look like? Well, I was thinking about doing a workspace tour, so let me know in the comments box if that's something that you'd like to see. I've also been toying with the idea of doing perhaps an art chat or art topic discussion type video whilst doing a painting in the background, so let me know if that's something that you'd like to see on this channel, or if you've got any other great ideas, then please, I'd love to hear them. Drop them in the comments box below. But that's all we've got time for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this Q&A video and watching the painting process of this penguin. If you've missed any of the previous videos that I've mentioned in today's video, I'll put them in the link above and you can go and check those out. But I would like to wish you all a great week. Thank you again for being my lovely subscribers, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye.